we have people that eat here, I'm not exaggerating, 4 or 5 times a week.
What does Jay Luigi's do differently that gives them the elite advantage, not only with their pizza, but also within the restaurant industry here in Tampa, Florida? Check out this episode to learn all about it. Now, what is different about Jay Luigi's? What's your target clientele? What's the goal of this style restaurant? Because you don't just serve pizza. You have great sandwiches, pasta.
Yeah, I'm a pizza guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that, right? So then I love pasta as well. And I've had some experience with other restaurants working with pizza and pasta, but we've never done the all sourdough concept.
Well, for starters, Jay, thank you so much for opening up your kitchen.
Nice to see you, man.
Yeah, man, great to see you. I'm excited about today. What is the pizza that we're making called?
So this style of pizza is called Neapolitan style.
Okay.
So, it's very traditional. Back in the day, Queen Margherita, she actually named this, they made this pizza for her specifically. A guy, Esposito in Naples, Italy. She was coming to his pizza place. He made 3 different pizzas. She chose this pizza and they named it the Margherita pizza. Real easy. We take our dough balls, you can see here, right? You want to get plenty of flour, coat them up. These are a little cold, so it's good. It'll be hopefully easy for us to both to stretch. We'll make a little bit of room for us here, right? The key is to have plenty of flour, right? I'll grab mine.
And what is the process for this dough? You took us to the dough den a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's like a scientific,
Yeah.
it is down to the temperature, down to the timing of everything.
So with dough, there's only 2 things you have control over, and that's time and temperature. So that's why we created a dough room to where we can control the temperature and the humidity. It still gets adjusted. Like when you have these cool mornings like we have right now, it's a little cooler in the morning, we've had to adjust the temperature of our water based on the different degree temperature in the mornings. When it's super duper hot, same thing. So based on what's happening with the weather outside, you still have to make adjustments, even in a controlled environment. The best way to do it is you want to push all of the air that's in the center of the dough, you want to push it to the outside to the cornicione, which is the crust, right? Okay. So you want to get the middle you see is nice and thin, and then you have these puffy crusts. So that's what we're going to work on. So you can press hard, turn it, press hard. And what you're thinking of in your mind is, how can I get this middle structure and the dough, the gluten, to be strong and thin and get the outside crust to have nice puffy air. You're not pressed enough in the middle, and then what happens is hot air gets trapped in between the dough and it rises. Okay. So that hot air has nowhere to go, so that's why the dough rises in a big bubble, okay?
How old were you when you made your first pizza, and how did you get into the industry?
My grandfather used to cook all the time, so we used to make quick and simple little pizzas with English muffins. We'd take English muffins, my nonna would have the sauce, she would make her sauce, we'd put the mozzarella on there, we'd stick the little guys in the ovens, and we would make those when I was really little just to start off. And then gradually it started to become more and more of a thing, but I really didn't know how to make actual pizza until I was a little bit older, and a gentleman by the name of Peter Taylor taught me how to make pizza. He had a restaurant called Wood-Fired Pizza and Wine Bar, and then from there, obviously more and more training, and I was actually on a pizza team, Pozzelli flour pizza team. I've competed in Las Vegas, and we've done quite a few things, fun stuff with pizza, and that's really how I got to where I am now. My dad and I opened up our first little pizza place in the Hamptons. It was literally just me and him in West Hampton Beach, small little 300 square foot pizza place. And I remember it was just he and I, and we were practicing. And, we had all of our friends and family coming to this little tiny pizza closet trying our food. And then one time we finally got the dough right after Peter Taylor giving me a lot of advice over the phone, because he's here in Florida. I'm up in New York and in West Hampton Beach. And, we finally came in and we made the dough, and it was perfect. We would make the dough every night. We'd come in, the dough's no good, you got to start over. So we'd start over. Finally, we made the dough perfect. I opened up my first real pizza. I cooked it in the wood burning oven at 900 degrees, came out, 90 seconds. And my stepmother, who studied in Florence and is Italian, she was there, and all of our Italian friends, and we knew people in the restaurant business also at that time. and they all ate the pizza. And my stepmother took one bite of the pizza. She looked at my father and I, she goes, "You guys are in big trouble." I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "You're going to get really busy this summer," because it's West Hampton Beach. So all the New Yorkers come for the summertime, and they know pizza because they travel. They're very well versed. They travel to Italy and they all over the place. So, you know, when my stepmother looked at my dad and I, and she was like, "You guys are in big trouble," I knew we finally did it right.
Now, what's unique about this dough in comparison to other pizza places here in Florida or even in the Tampa area?
Well, we use a specially formulated flour. The brand is called Ciccio, and it's flour milled in Italy, and it's a zero. A lot of people say 00 flour. This is actually just a single zero flour. Very fine, but it's a universal flour that I'm able to use for different styles of pizza. A lot of times the flour is designed specifically for Neapolitan flour. Then sometimes you have, you know, the Romano Taglio flour, which is the square pizza that we also do. And then sometimes, you know, it could be Detroit style pizza. The beauty part about this flour is we're able to use it for all the different types of pizzas that we do here. We do a very, very thin paper crust. We do a taglio pizza, which is the tall, fluffy crust. So that's the difference. Yeah, we'll throw some cheese on there. Well, you do it. Here, just put some on. Grab a couple little slices. You know, just think, okay, if I'm going to cut this into 6 slices, how would I want to put my cheese on, right? You want to try and have cheese for every slice you cut. I'm very fortunate that I get to try all these different varieties of pizza, you know, but for me, the Neapolitan style cooked in a wood burning oven is still my favorite way to do pizza. You know, my father still has the pizza place up in New York. My last name is Brunetti, so it's called Brunetti Pizza. It's in West Hampton Beach. You know, it was voted some of the best pizza on Long Island, and that's still probably just the closest to my heart, but I love all pizza. I love taglio, I love thin, I love Roman, I love Detroit. I mean, there's just so many different variations of pizza. It's great, but I am one of those people that is always trying something new. And listen, some of the stuff works great and it knocks people's heads off. Some of the stuff is just, it's okay, it's good, but at least we tried it and we can go on to the next thing.
Yeah. I was so surprised to learn that the pizza industry globally is I think last year, $150 billion industry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the most popular food on the planet.
Yeah.
I only moved back to New York because my father had this goofy idea. One day he calls me and says, "Sonny, we're going to do pizza." I said, "Dad, I'm not moving back to New York for pizza. There's a pizza place on every single corner." He's like, "No, not this style pizza." He's like, "You got to come. We're going to try this Neapolitan wood-burning pizza," which was this new thing. This is back in 2008, 2007. It was not popular. There was only a handful of restaurants that were doing this in New York City, mind you. One of the places was Motorino, which is probably still one of my favorite pizza places in New York, right? So I said, "Okay, Pop, I got a ticket." I flew up there. He took me to these places, and the first bite of the pizza that I had, I realized, wow, this is something special. Like, nobody's doing anything like this that I know of, and I've never had pizza like this before. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go back to Florida, and I'm gonna find a way how to make this, you know, Neapolitan style pizza. Like, well, who's doing this in Tampa? I knew of nobody. And then my best friend, Bill Smoke, said, "Hey, there's a guy in Tampa that's doing the type of pizza that you want to do with your father. Let's go to his restaurant and try it out." And I referenced it earlier. It was Wood Fire Pizza Wine Bar. It's all the way up on Bears Avenue by USF. So I started going there, and I started, you know, I would go by myself, and then Bill and I would go first, and he and I would go and eat and stuff, and I'd ask the guy questions. The owner, his name's Peter Taylor, 6'5", stark white hair, big blue eyes, and crazy passionate about his, I mean, nuts. Like, "I don't use any mozzarella besides, you know, this brand because nothing belongs on the Raquel pizza like this beautiful pearl white mozzarella." Like, he was nuts. So I said, "Okay, we can do that." So we kept going, right? All right, that was a little over, but that's okay. We kept going, and then next thing you know,
Looks amazing.
pretty good.
I
mean,
actually like a little bit of that.
yeah, it's a little over, but it's nice. But you see all the leoparding? That's what I was referencing to when I said you should always cook the top. So anyway, we kept going, and then I started bringing more and more people with me. And I would go there with a group of 15 people to his restaurant, right, to try and impress him. Hey, I know all these people. And I kept asking him, why don't you show me how to make pizza? He's like, listen, in Italy, the apprentice pays the teacher how to make pizza. I'm like, well, we're in Tampa, and it's a different place,
Yeah.
We're not in Italy. So finally, one night, I had a few glasses of wine, and I got, I was feeling good about myself, and I went up to him and I said, listen, I don't want to keep asking you. Why don't you just show me? What are you afraid of? Show me. I'm opening all the way in New York. You're here in Tampa. I'm not a threat. Just why don't you want to show me? What's the problem? He goes, all right, tough guy. If you're so serious about this, be back here 3 o'clock in the morning. That's when I make the dough for the following day. I said, okay. So of course I went home, 2:30 in the morning, got in my car, drove over to his place. All the lights were off. He was sitting at his bar. He had 2 espresso cups and just a little light on the bar, and it was just Peter Taylor and the 2 espresso cups waiting on me. We had an espresso together, and then that was it. I interned with him. Yeah, I interned with him for like 4 or 5 months, and he's the one who really showed me how to do it.
So you have a couple other pizzas on your menu that have a special, meaning or name to them. Are we gonna make any others? Or
Yeah. So this one here, this is like your traditional margarita pizza, right? Listen to yours. Yours has a nice crunch.
Well, that one's mine.
Yeah, this is the one. Yours actually came out crunchier than mine. So, but this is, like I said, this is a very traditional pizza. So my daughter is Stella. So we named this pizza Queen Stella Margarita here. That's what we call this one, Queen Stella, right? So again, this is just our rendition of the Stella pizza. I have another one on the menu. It's called the Sweet Jamie K. So my wife's name is Jamie. So when we first, we got married, 9/21/12 was our wedding date. So I got an anniversary coming up this weekend. If you got any good tips, let me know. Anyway,
Congrats.
Thank you. So I started making pizza for my wife, and she loves pizza, and she's my toughest critic, by the way. I made a pizza called the Sweet Jamie K. So it's the red sauce, and it's mozzarella, and then it's soppressata. So in Italy, if you ask for pepperoni, they give you little peppers. Here, pepperoni is this other type of meat.
Do we have time to make it?
Here. Yeah, we can do it. So I have the soppressata. I have all the ingredients here. So if you and I want to make another pizza, we can.
Let's do it. Let's make one more.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Let's do it.
What was the biggest challenge that you faced kind of in the early days when you were getting into this?
It's a good question. I mean, my biggest challenge was never having done anything like this before. My father nor myself.
So everything was new and
Everything was a challenge. I mean, we literally had the fire department approve the pizza oven like an hour before we were scheduled to open. We were opened on Labor Day, right? Oh, I'm sorry. On Memorial Day is when we opened our first pizza place, the tiny little pizza closet. I mean, you had to walk into Haagen-Dazs. You had to walk through Haagen-Dazs and go to the back of Haagen-Dazs, and you would see our wood-burning oven nestled in the back of Haagen-Dazs, 300 square feet, a counter with 6 bar stools, and that's it. So literally an hour before we were scheduled to open on Memorial Day, which is the kickoff, it's Memorial Day to Labor Day is the season in the Hamptons, right? I had to call the owner of the oven, the people that manufactured the oven, Acunto was the oven at the time, and I had to get the owner. He was on holiday. He literally was on holiday. He went to the hotel and he had a letter drafted saying that the oven was safe because they had so much clearance from the oven to the wall, and the fire department was worried that it was too much heat close to the wall. But because that oven, the way they are all insulated, it's safe. Like you can put your hand on it. It's warm, but you could put your hand on it. It's not like it's going to burn the place down. So once we got a letter saying that there's 0 clearance necessary for that kind of oven, then the fire marshal said, okay, fine, I'll give you your CO to open. I mean, an hour before we were supposed to open.
it's just so interesting that like one little detail like that could have stopped you from opening.
Stressful, man. I tell you what. So we're like, my dad and I are just sitting there poised, ready to go. And we opened the restaurant. It was just me and my father at first. It was insane. I mean, nobody worked the register. Nobody answered the phone. Nobody to wash the dishes. Nothing. It was me and Pop. He calls me Sonny. I call him Pop. So Pop and Sonny there by ourselves, ready for for war is
You
what
made it
happened.
happen. Yeah, you made
It
it
was
happen.
insane. It was insane. Do you want to put it in the oven? Or you want me to do it?
I'll do it.
Okay. So the process for putting it in is you're going to slide it in and then pull the peel out.
It's kind of an aggressive slide at first.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yep. There you go. Pull. Perfect. That's great. That's actually really good. That was great. We got lucky with that, folks. Unless he's done it 100 times.
I have not done it.
We got pretty lucky. That was great.
Have you had where you slide it too fast and like it rolls?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the pizza just kind of slid across the deck.
Yeah,
which
it was smooth.
We were fortunate on that one.
Hey, that looks perfect.
That's beautiful. That's yours, by the way. You did that one.
Two for two.
That's your pizza. That's pretty damn good. Look at that. You guys, take a look at that.
A little burnt there, but
come on. Look at that. I mean, you did a great job. I'm very, very impressed.
Should we take a bite here, or should we sit down?
Let's take one here. You have yours. No,
I'm gonna have one of these.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. It's gonna be hot.
That's how I like it.
Buon appetito.
Bon appetit.
Oh,
It's so good.
taste how crispy the soppressata is.
Well, thank you so much for showing me
Yeah.
not only how to make the pizza, but what went into it, the history, the tradition, your journey in this industry, and then obviously eating the pizzas, the cherry on top. So now I'm excited to sit down with you and talk a little bit more about
Great.
this restaurant, some of the things you guys are doing within the community.
Great. I love
Ciccio Restaurant Group, and then we'll talk about some other topics.
Yeah, we have a lot to chat about.
Awesome. Cool.
I'm ready.
For those that are listening or that watched the first section, I want to start with first giving a little insight into Jay Luigi. So your first location opened up in St. Pete back in 2022.
Yep.
And then this location, which is in South Tampa, opened up in December of last year.
Correct.
You guys are a part of Ciccio Restaurant Group, which is a very successful restaurant group here in Tampa. If you're from South Tampa or if you've lived here even for a little bit, like there's a very high likelihood that you've went to one of the restaurants.
Yeah.
But for those that are listening that maybe aren't from this area or have been living under a rock or from another state, like what is Ciccio Restaurant Group? What are the restaurants and or the makeup of that group?
Well, Ciccio Restaurant Group is broken up into two divisions, right? So you have the local brands, which are Green Lemon, Taco Dirty, Water Flower, which is our original. That's the original Ciccio and Tony's. So from that one store, all these other concepts were born, literally out of that kitchen with Chef Luis. Water Flower, then you have Jay Luigi now. Daily Eats, which is another great concept that we've had.
Very good.
We opened that up after Water Flower. And then you've got Taco Dirty,
which is kind of newer too, right? Like,
yeah, the one on Howard has been here for several years, 4 or 5 years
like
old.
5 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's about 5 years old, but we just opened a new one in Riverview.
That's what I'm thinking
That's
of,
the
the
new
River.
one. Yes,
Okay.
right. So we have a new Taco Dirty in Riverview, and then we have a new Jay Luigi right here in South Tampa.
Now, what is different about Jay Luigi's? What's your target clientele? What's the goal of this style restaurant? Because you don't just serve pizza. You have great sandwiches, pasta.
Yeah.
You're off South Howard Avenue, which is a very busy poppin' area in Tampa, especially at night during the weekends. You shared a little bit about that when we had met a couple weeks ago, but for those that are listening, like what's your...
So we, I'm a pizza guy, obviously. Yeah. Everybody knows that, right? So then I love pasta as well. And I've had some experience with other restaurants working with pizza and pasta, but we've never done the all sourdough concept. It's a whole new thing for us, right? And we use fresh made pasta, not dry pasta. So we figured we'd try. We had this small opportunity because of COVID. Burger 21 on 4th Street in St. Pete went out of business. So this small little footprint with not much parking, 2,000 square foot building, not much parking, became available. And my partner Jimmy is like, hey, we should take this space. It's a great space. It's not expensive. It's a prime location because of where it was right on 4th Street. He's like, let's take the space and put something in there. Literally got the space without a concept. I said, all right, let's do it. I'm a pizza guy. We'll do pizza and pasta, something very simple, right? Keep it very simple. So long story short, we were under the impression that it would be all young people and, my partner Jimmy thought it would cater more to young people than it would towards people my age or older. Well, unbeknownst to us, it winds up catering to tons of families. There's a ton of families in that area, ton. Old Northeast and all those areas, all outlying the store, it's all families. And like I said, because it's only 2,000 square feet, we do a lot of takeout out of there. But it's just, and then we had to do a quick service concept out of there because of COVID.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. And then it was successful, so you decided, all right, let's open up another location.
Let's open another one. Yeah. I mean, it took a while because when I went out to St. Pete, nobody knew who I was personally. So I had to spend a lot of time there talking to the guests. I'm with CRG. Oh, okay, because we have a fresh kitchen there on 4th Street, and then we have a Cali, which is also very busy, popular. It's been there forever, 20 years. Cali's been there forever. So, and that's also that fresh kitchen on 4th Street's CRG's largest unit. So, it just took some educating, telling people who I was and how I was affiliated with CRG and what we were doing and the whole idea behind it. But it started off very slow. It was extremely slow,
which is probably a good thing.
It is.
At first, yeah.
It is, because you don't want to, open the doors unless you've already done 2, 3, 4 concepts, right? Like whenever they open a new fresh kitchen, they open it up and there's a line around the building because it's already, people already know the brand. Out of all of our brands in CRG, the Fresh Kitchen brand is by far the most popular brand, 100%. Everybody knows it. Outside of the state, it's popular. It's only in Florida, but outside of the state, people know the brand. So anyway, it took a lot of education and it took a lot of time and building relationships with folks. But then once they got to try the food, that was it.
Yeah.
People were like, okay, I get it now. They were like, they would eat the food and say, where are you? Who are you? Where do you come from? And I would say, oh, I'm part of CRG. And people would say, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I get it now. Okay. Oh, you're part of CRG. They would always say, oh, you're part of CRG. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's every time.
And CRG has over 20 locations, right? Across both local brands.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And CRG started, 1990, or at least I think I read 25 years.
Yeah, it's been about 25 years. I mean, Ciccio and Tony started in New York with my now partner, Jimmy. He founded the company. Chef Luis, who is the chef for the entire company, who has his hand in every single menu item and all across all the brands, worked for Jimmy in New York. So when Jimmy moved, Chef Luis moved.
So every single restaurant he has his hand in.
He's created at most of the menu items, if not all, in every single CRG brand. With Jimmy. Jimmy gives him the direction. Jimmy is the one. Jimmy is the forefront leader, but nobody knows that. He likes to stay behind the scenes. Jimmy will never present himself as a front man, ever. He doesn't want any recognition.
But he's the mind.
He is the brains behind the operation, unequivocally. It's him. He's just has a passion for food and business and people. Those are the 3 things he's passionate about.
And you guys have had so much success.
Yeah.
Growing like crazy. Yeah.
We take tours. I mean, he lives in LA, right? So I grab my entire team. We hop on a plane. We go down there and we do a whole entire food tour. 48 hours. We're there. We eat at 20 different places. We fly back. We work on new items. That's all it is. Cool. It's just pure research. He's constantly doing it all the time.
Constant cycle of learning and trying new things out and getting the team together.
It's the only way to stay innovative.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
And when did you get involved?
So it's funny. Back in 2000, I opened a nightclub called Rain Lounge, and it was a pretty popular place.
Over here in Tampa?
Yeah, over in the Channel Side district, which is now Water Street. Yep. So it was in that industrial area. It was a small little place. It was really cool, though. It was very, tropical. We had a glass dance floor with water running down the glass, hence the name, Rain Lounge. Mm-hmm. We had this little sushi sake bar in the back that was a special little, a little separate structure. All the floors were painted. There was tropical flowers and plants, everything everywhere. So it was very unique, nothing like it. And it was, a cafe style club, DJ, dancing, small, boutique. And Jimmy used to come all the time. So I became friendly with him, and then I said, hey, I'm going to get out of this business. What do you have going on? And he's like, well, I just opened a restaurant over on Howard Avenue, and I could use some help, drumming people in there. And since you know how to promote and you have, a following from having the club, maybe we can work together.
Yeah.
I said, sure. So I literally started off as like a host, just like, welcoming people in, sitting down with the guests, and then throwing parties there and, doing specific nights and, bikers night and having 1 million people on motorcycles and, throwing big parties there and having a good time. And we enjoyed it a lot. And then that's really how I got started with CRG. That was my initial, and then I wound up moving to the general manager of that store. I started as a host and wound up running the store.
And then now you run all the operations for all the local brands.
I oversee the operations.
I
oversee operations for local. Yep.
Doing a little bit of research as well, and along with kind of what I'd said earlier about the $150 billion industry that pizza is.
Yeah.
But 80% of restaurants fail within the first 5 years.
Yeah.
You guys are on 20 plus different locations. I know within that there's, I think 10 different styles. I might be off on the, because I know you got Fresh Kitchen, Taco Dirty, Green Lemon, like
Cali, Water Flower, Jay Luigi.
So maybe I'm right on the number.
Yeah, it's quite a few different styles of food.
Yeah. What do you believe has led to the continued success of not only the brands that have started and been a part of CRG, but some of the newer brands as well? Because there seems to be, and it's apparent, just a culture of teamwork, collaboration, innovation, which you said earlier.
Yeah.
Trying new things out. Obviously, you have to have a great chef behind that as well. So,
absolutely.
But what's your takeaway on how has CRG been so successful over the years and continue to have that increase in momentum even through difficult times, which we'll get into in a little bit?
Honestly, price point is where it starts.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a good value. When they go to eat, they want to have a good value. That value could be your experience. That value could be the quality of the food, the service. It could be a number of things. We try to combine the value in a whole. So when you come in, you want to get treated right. Even if it's quick service, you walk in a Fresh Kitchen, those people are happy, man.
Always friendly.
The biggest smile on their face. And you get through the line in 10 minutes. There's a line outside.
There's always a line
the building.
Yep.
Out of the building. And people get on that line because they know I'm going to get in and out of here in 10 to 15 minutes the most, and I'm going to be treated with hospitality. And that's how they are. Everybody's happy to work there. You know, I mean, it's crazy. Chick-fil-A has kind of got the same thing. You go to Chick-fil-A, a little greeter is so nice to you when you're giving your order, waiting outside. It's 110 degrees. They're sweating and they're still hospitable to
pleasure.
you. Like, I'm in my AC car with the window barely down, and they're like, hi, welcome to, So anyway, we try to follow the same philosophy, which we do. Full service restaurants, same thing. You go to Green Lemon, just go to Green Lemon and see how many people walk by and say, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Anybody walking by you says welcome in before you even get to the host stand.
Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah, it's crazy.
At primetime hours, you might be on the wait list for an hour and a half, and people will still wait.
They wait because it's they're going to get treated right. They know that that's their second home. We have people that eat here. I'm not exaggerating, 4 or 5 times a week. So you have to try and keep it fresh and innovating. We change the menus. That's hence what I was saying earlier, going back to us doing our food tours. We go and we try different foods and different, recipes, and we try to keep it fresh. But again, I think the success of CRG, and my partner Jimmy says this all the time. I mean, obviously he's a huge part of it, but he's one man leading the rest of us, right? So we have to follow
his strategy.
We have to follow his strategy, and it's easy. It's just treat people right, make something that they appreciate and they love, and it's different from the way other people are making it. And you've got a successful business, right? And just have the right people. I mean, it's all about
and the right price point too.
And the right price point. The price point's huge.
Yeah, because I've noticed living in Tampa for going on 15 years. Within the last 5 years, this is becoming a food city.
Oh yeah. Oh,
like
yeah. The
big name
competition's
restaurants,
fierce.
Michelin,
Yep.
gourmet bib awards being thrown out left and right.
Yep.
You got people from all over the world moving down here now. So
Yeah.
it feels like a food scene for sure. And a lot of high end, very expensive places.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get that, I don't want to say like a luxurious feel, but in some way here you get like a very kind of high end feel and
Sure.
experience. And you have people in dresses and you have people in shorts and a t-shirt.
Right.
But you have great food at an affordable price with great service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the key. I mean, we have people tell us here at Jay Luigi Soho, like, you guys should raise your prices. You're in, Hyde Park. Like, it's this food.
Yeah. Income is
you're right.
higher.
Like, raise the prices. We're not going to do that. We have the same prices here as we do in St. Pete. That's just how it works. We try to keep everything across the board, even and value-based, right? And we also make a lot of the stuff. We make all the dough, all the bread, croutons. We make the croutons. We make the cheese. We make everything. If we can't make it, we import it in. That's just what we do. That's how we're different. But when you make everything yourself, sometimes that's a cost-effective way of doing business. Sure, you have the labor, but if that labor is making all of your pizza and all of the dough, everything, then it pays off. Mm-hmm. It's that, in my opinion, that's how you do it.
I love it. I've been a fan of CRG for a while, and getting to know you, and obviously kind of the partnership that we have with you guys, which we'll get into in a little bit as well. This is
sure.
Just a great restaurant, great group of restaurants.
Thanks.
Big fan.
Yeah,
now,
we're having fun.
Oh yeah. Industry hurdles. So when we were talking to Andrew Koenig on the last episode about the furniture industry and some of the disruptions or the challenges they faced, I'd imagine there's a lot of similarities to that. One of them being COVID.
Yeah, wow. That was crazy.
And I remember I was living in Channelside, like trying to get food, trying to go out was like almost impossible as well.
Yeah, it's tough.
How did you guys navigate all of that? Because for a restaurant, it's almost like doomsday, because you're going to make your money from people coming in and eating with each other and being in close proximity to each other.
Sure.
And then nobody wanted to do that, or you almost couldn't in some regards.
Yeah.
So how did you guys pivot? What were some of the big takeaways from that?
How do you bring the experience home?
That as well,
right?
yeah.
To somebody's living room or their couch while they watch TV was the key. We had some concepts that we didn't even allow takeout until COVID happened. But COVID really changed our business. So Jay Luigi St. Pete, I opened that. When we took that restaurant over, we had plans on making that a full service style restaurant. Sit down, come in, sit down, have a server come to your table, proper full service, right? Mm-hmm. I couldn't find employees. We couldn't find any staff members anywhere. All the applications were like CVS, Public, nobody from the restaurant industry, because nobody from the restaurant industry was working because they were getting money from the government, and they were like, I don't have to work anymore. I'll just take my...
Or there's no money in this, why would I apply
Right,
anyways?
exactly. Yeah. No, I'm not going to apply. The restaurants are all failing left and right. They chose different career paths, which is fine. So we came up with that quick service model for that location because of it. I couldn't find anybody. So I said, I'm going to take the matters into my own hands, and, we'll do quick service. And managers will be the one that really go to the tables and talk to the tables. And I'll be there 24/7 explaining the brand, So from that came the Jay Luigi St. Pete service style. And on top of it, Uber. Uber changed the entire environment for takeout food, right? Before, Uber was not, it was kind of like a commodity, if you will. Yeah. Now it's a necessary means of convenience. Uber has become so convenient because of COVID, that it's just allowed people to just order from their phone, sit on their couch, and have the food delivered to them.
Yeah.
They don't even think twice about paying for Uber. It's not an issue. I'm 65% of my business in St. Pete is takeout. Takeout and Uber. And Uber's a lot. We do more business in Uber than we do people calling over the phone or just showing up and ordering in the place. So Uber's changed a lot. Like I said, some of our brands, we didn't even offer takeout. We had no choice once COVID came around.
Yeah, I remember Green
takeout.
Lemon down the street had the big tent.
Yeah. So now takeout is a monster in all our brands. It's very busy.
Were there any
big
other
part of it.
big challenges that you guys overcame during that time frame that have kind of bled into the success today, or things that were started there or at that time aside from takeout?
Well, I mean, I think just trying to, run a lean, tight ship and understanding how you can get the most out of your brand, really, it made everybody think. You had to redefine your business model.
Yeah. Andrew Koenig with City said we learned how to budget really well.
Yeah.
During that time frame.
You didn't have a choice, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of kept on to that. And it because, the restaurant industry at the time was getting kind of fat, it was just, everybody was making money and it was easy, right? And then once COVID hit, it made everybody, if you weren't a forward thinker and you didn't come up with solutions on how to budget your money properly, then you closed.
Yeah.
You didn't make it. And a lot of places didn't make it, right? And the places that survived, they made it, and we're better for it at this point, honestly.
Yeah.
And like I said, it also, some of the carryover is the availability to find a smaller space and put a business in a smaller space now, because you don't have to worry about your dine-in business. If it's in the right location,
you'll get enough traffic.
You'll get it. Well, and you'll get a lot of takeout business, right? Yeah. And Uber, and now they have Olo. You can still order online from our actual menu.
Okay.
And then Uber will just deliver it. You pay a flat fee of like $5 to the Uber driver, and they deliver the food for you, but you still order it through Jay Luigi, for example.
Okay.
You don't even have to go through Uber.
Okay. I didn't know that.
They've created that service now for restaurants, so it's helpful.
It's pretty crazy when you think about something like that it's only been 5 years.
Right.
And how much industry advancements have stemmed from that. I did a little research, and just even with AI, for example, people leveraging that, and it's nuts when you think about how when the world shuts down, something like food, that you're just so accustomed to just getting whenever you want, however you want, can be so quickly not taken from you, but your availability, your options are.
It wasn't accessible, right? It wasn't. I mean, try to get into a restaurant, you couldn't. In New York, you had to show
it was even worse there.
You had to show your card that you were vaccinated just to be able to walk into a restaurant in New York. I just moved back to Tampa from New York a year before COVID hit. So I thank God I was here. I still had my little pizza place in the West Village, but it was a disaster.
Now I want to transition to business collaborations, because you're big on that.
Yeah, love it.
I want to also give a shout out to Anthony Chiklowski.
Yeah.
Great friend of yours for a long time.
Big Ant.
Been
my
a friend.
boy.
He's a coworker of mine at Elite. He's become a great friend of mine as well. Lovely guy. And he had an idea with you to have networking events here on a monthly basis, where business professionals from the Tampa area or even outside Tampa can come and connect during happy hour time frame. And we partner with local businesses, nonprofits.
Yep.
And it's great, not only for the business, but also the community, and just getting people to connect and meet. And it's been a success. I love it. I look forward to it every month.
Yeah.
We have some other big ideas that we've discussed, obviously, with you around that. What's been the biggest takeaway for you in that? What's been the best part about those Noodles and Networking events?
Well, I mean, it's nice to see that other events are stemming from the Noodles and Networking events, right? You see people getting together, and maybe they're doing some business dealings, a realtor and a title company, for example, kind of thing, are now working hand in hand. Or we've had a couple other folks get together and want to talk about doing other other events here at Jay Luigi with them from the Noodles and Networking event. And just watching people get together and hang out and talk, and just, that's what people like to do. They just want to be sociable. And watching people be sociable, snacking on the food. We have all the food put up here on this big dry bar, and they're just grabbing the food, and they got a drink in their hand, and they're just talking away about what they do and what they have in common with somebody else. And, it's just a great energy. You can just feel the whole room is filled with energy. It's, it's getting so big now that we have to block off all these tables because it kind of spills into the tables from the people standing around, which is fine. I just don't want anybody to not have a good time enjoying their dinner. So we have to block off some of these tables because it just keeps growing and growing. But it's fun to watch.
Would you give other people in the restaurant industry advice in doing that as well? Like, have you found it to be like? So
one of the main reasons why we did it, because we were new and we wanted to get some exposure out there. And I think it's a great way for exposure. I mean, honestly, it's a great way to have people come in that might never have gone to your restaurant before. Maybe there's people, maybe they didn't know what you were about, or they don't eat pizza, right? But they came here and they got to try 15 other things from the menu that they love, but they're not pizza eaters because they have celiacs or whatever it is. It's just nice to capture an audience of people that maybe you wouldn't have captured before.
That then come back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen one guy, we had the Chamber of Commerce here one time from the events, and this guy, I saw him here 3 times a week. He would come and sit at the corner of the bar and have his pizza and hang out. And, he'd always bring somebody else. So it worked out well. They're
so much fun. I enjoy them.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
looking
a lot of
forward
fun.
to the next one.
I enjoy them.
What other collaborations have you done? I know the one in particular just ended.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you kind of talk about that. And then I don't know if you can even get into announcing the next one or not.
Sure.
But I know that's big. That's something that you think about doing a lot.
Yeah. So, we use this company called WineStream for all of our wines. We have a lot of wines on tap. So they sell these wines in these kegs. So WineStream, I've been using them for quite some time as a vendor. And 2 of the sons, they're these twins, from WineStream wanted to start their own brand called Saucy. So they came to me and Jimmy and they said, hey, we'd like to, see if we could do some kind of collaboration where we can work out of your window over here and we can start to promote our new brand selling these spritz drinks, which is a very popular thing right now. In Italy, it's been popular. They have spritz time where everybody stops and drinks spritz. But here, especially in Tampa, it's now just becoming a thing. And they're great guys. These 2 brothers, they're just
I met them the last time I was here.
Ludo and Naza, identical twins. So they're just very hospitable and they're just great people. So I said, yeah, sure, let's try it for 30 days. We made a simple little 30-day contract. Let's give it a whirl, see how it goes. Well, it was so successful that we kept them for 3 months. And they got tons of recognition for it. But it also helped us because it was in the summertime when, first off, we're a brand new concept that just opened up and it's the summer. Everybody leaves. A lot of the UT's out, they're gone. USF, same thing. And then here in South Tampa, a lot of these families, they travel.
Yeah, they go up north.
They don't stick around here. They go away for the summer or they take their kids or they send their kids to camp and then they travel. So we're like, what are we going to do to fill this void? And I thought, okay, let's just do this collaboration with these guys. It's great exposure for us. It's great exposure for them. And it could, it'll help us both. And it did. I mean, they were here for 3 months and it was wildly successful and everybody was talking about it. It was great. And, they're going on to do other things. This was like the springboard for them. Now they have other opportunities, which is great. And it's it worked out exactly the way I wanted it to. Now, it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
It could have went in the opposite direction. That would have been fine. You tried, it didn't work. Okay, great. We try something else. But we were fortunate that it worked out the way it did. And it just got me thinking we should be able to do this with more folks. And that's what we're working on.
And that's a goal of yours, right? Is to have some more local collaborations with other small businesses?
I have a local guy who wants to start his own pasta making business. And, I have the space. I could make the space for him. And, he wants to start his own little company, but he wants to start off very small. So I'll have him making pasta for us, and it'll be exclusive. It's, it's fresh made pasta in store. It gets right out of the back, the dough room that we made for making all our pizza dough. We're gonna set up a little pasta area there, have his machine, the whole thing, and then he can make the pasta for us. And who knows? I mean, that's what he wants to do for, the second half of his life. Then God bless him. Let him do it. He can do it here. If it works out, great. And he can get business from that. I support him. It's awesome. I get to help him and he's helping me because now I can say I have fresh made pasta when we do tours of the dough room. he might be there making pasta, you know? So it's only going to benefit us and him, you know? And if I could help him out, that's great.
Win-win.
It's a good feeling, you know, to be able to, because I'm fortunate, you know, I have all of CRG behind me. So when I want to come up with an idea, a new concept, you know, we run it past the right people, goes up the flagpole. If they like it, I get to launch a new concept. You know, it's not everybody has that option. It's not easy to start a business, man. It's not. And if you don't have the proper capital and the proper team, like, remember, I told you earlier, Pop and I opened that pizza place. It was just me and him. I would never do that ever again. You know, I have a whole entire team behind me. Like, you asked me, is it better, you know, to be an individual leader or, you know, to have a self-managing company? I'll tell you any day of the week, my goal is to have a self-managing company. I don't want to be the rugged individual leader. That's not in the cards for me. It's not what I do.
You said this earlier, that there's so much joy in seeing people grow too.
Yes.
And that's such a big part of CRG as well.
That's what it's all about. Honestly, like, as I grow, my team under me will grow along with me because I can't do it without them. It's the who, like, who is there for me to help me get to the next level, right? To take the things that I'm really not good at or things that I don't want to do, but they're good at, things they want to do. I can capture that person's unique abilities to do the things that I'm not good at, but they're great at it. And because they're so good at it, it takes us to the next level. And then they find their who's going to do the stuff that they're doing, that they want to do something else. And it just goes on and on and on, you know, and it gives you freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of relationships, all that stuff stems from that. But it's all about having the team with you. Otherwise, you can't, I don't want to do it by myself. Some people do. There are some restaurateur guys that are control freaks that got to have their hands in everything. I'm not that guy.
Empower your people.
Yeah, I have people more talented than I am at things that they do that I don't do. So I'm going to utilize their unique abilities to help me get to the next level.
It's awesome. One of the last questions for you. You shared some causes that are near and dear to your heart, some things that you're involved with, passions of yours. How can those people that are listening or watching get involved or support, and what are those causes?
Yeah, my son has muscular dystrophy. So he has this rare form, there's many different forms of it, but he has this rare form called Bethlem myopathy where, you know, his body's missing a protein deficiency and his little body doesn't grow muscle. And, you know, he's also lacks collagen in his body. So he's got a lot of challenges. He's 9 years old. And, you know, my wife and I were like, what do we do? How do we deal with this? You know, it's tough.
Yeah.
And emotionally too, you know, it's stressful for him. Why isn't he like other kids? You know, wakes up one day, can't walk right. You know, it's tough. It's tough, but he's a very positive boy. But anyway, we reached out to Muscular Dystrophy Association and they, you know, put us in contact with some people, and Wheelchairs4Kids, which is a local organization here, which is just incredible. You know, they're an organization that helps these kids that have muscular dystrophy, you know, you name it. They have all sorts of disabilities. You know, some are in wheelchairs, some are quadriplegics. It goes across the board. You know, my son is actually more fortunate with his disability, right? It's different than everybody else's. So the long and the short of it is just I've gone on a lot of events. They have these great events. They take the kids to Colorado. They go with ski instructors. They have these sit-down skis, you know, and the ski instructor sits with them and holds them in, and they go down a little slope there. And, you know, they do all sorts of fun stuff. Over by Top Golf, they have the skydive. You know, they go in the skydive and there's this air and they put on the suits and they hover like they're actually flying. And I mean, listen, it's overwhelming. Like, you think you've seen some emotional stuff, but you see someone who's a quadriplegic in a wheelchair and they get this kid out of the chair and they put him in this suit and then they put him on this, you know, the air.
Yeah, it's a little chamber.
And they put him in the chamber and the kid is flying and he's got a smile from one side of his face to the other that you don't get to see very often out of these kids, you know? And it's just, you can see that that's the moment, you know, that's their moment. And you just watch it and you can't help but get overwhelmed. You know, it's incredible. So this Wheelchairs4Kids organization, like I said, and the Muscular Dystrophy organization is great, but the Wheelchairs4Kids is a local local one.
It's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're very, we're involved with them. They just do great things.
Well, I didn't tell you this ahead of time, but as you know, Elite Rewards does a ton of business partnerships.
Sure.
We're a B2B partner in the reward space, incentive space, reward platforms. We work within a ton of different industries, as you know. And obviously the events here have been something that we love and look forward to, and we're so appreciative of your partnership and bringing that idea to life.
Sure.
And I was talking with Tom, and he said, I want to find a way where we can support your cause. So we're going to donate $1,000 to Wheelchairs for Kids.
I appreciate that, man. That's awesome.
And then we'd like to have another event, obviously, here where we partner with them.
Great.
In some way.
I love it.
Bring more awareness and donations as well. So
that would be amazing.
Yeah. It's just, we want to do good business with good people. And if we're able to support and fight for a cause that's near and dear to your heart, we're going to do it.
I appreciate that, man.
And I appreciate you being open to share about that too, because I have a two-year-old daughter, and it's my world.
It is. And my son wasn't really diagnosed until he was like 3. He started walking normal just like any other little kid, and all the steps and everything he was doing was on track to just being regular, just like everybody else. And then all of a sudden he started walking funny, and, he was having trouble getting up. And then that's when we brought him in for genetic testing, and we found out, it was probably the age of 3, 4. That was it. So it's crazy.
Just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. But like I said, he's super positive. He's teaching us all lessons. Seriously.
It's usually how it happens.
You think your day was tough today? Like, you think you had a tough day? Like, he wouldn't say this, but, the poor kid had casts on his feet for 8 weeks straight. This casting to try and fix his, the heel cords in his heels get very tight, and it drops his foot down. So they put casts on, and then they cut the cast off in 7 days. They raise his feet, and then they put the cast back on again. So, he wore that for 8 weeks throughout the whole summer. It was tough. And, got out of the cast, and he's a happy kid. He can walk better now, and he's all the better for it. And, if he can go through that without complaining, then I can go through a tough day at work.
Yeah.
Well,
there's an event as well where I can get involved and help. Or
we'll get together.
Rewards. Yeah,
I would love that. That would be great. That would be great. We'll get CRG involved too.
Okay.
That'd
be great.
We'll do another collaboration.
Yeah. And Building Success Productions.
Yeah. We can collaborate on that. That'll be brilliant. I would love that.
Last question. The podcast is called The Elite Advantage.
Yeah.
I have a bunch in my head of things that give you guys the elite advantage within your industry, but what would you say is the one for you, for CRG, or maybe just Jay Luigi's? I know you can take it in a bunch of directions.
No, I think our elite advantage is the people that we have. I think it's a big part of what we do, and the people that we have around us, and trying to take the ego out. Like, we all try to work together, and ego is a big thing, right? We all know that. It's a killer. And we try to take the ego out of everything we do. Our chefs, chefs are known to have egos, man. They're egomaniacs, Restaurant owners are egotistical. Jimmy's not an ego guy. He, like I said earlier, he's the guy in the back scenes that he doesn't even want anybody to know his name. He just wants to be in the back, be supportive, help all the people under him grow. I just think that's a big part of CRG and who we are. We know who we are. We're not trying to be somebody different than who we are. We know our brand. We have the support of the community. We're very community driven. Not a lot of restaurant groups are that way. They're kind of disconnected from the community, but our people, because the way we treat our guests, and because of the hospitality, and because of relationships and people coming in 5 days a week to eat, you build these relationships, right? Yeah. And you build relationships within the community. And I think that's our elite advantage, is how intertwined and connected we are with our community. I think that is the real success. The food is great. The pricing is great. All those things, they play a role, right? But you got to get people to come in the door. All of those factors play getting people through the door. Once they get in, it's building those relationships with those people. That's the difference, it's genuine. It's not, I'm putting on this face just because I got to talk to this guest. No, it's not it. Like, I generally want to talk to the guest, and I walk away learning something every single time when I go to a table and talk to somebody. That's just how it is. I look at it that way. Mm-hmm. And I think that, as long as we keep learning as a group, and just keep that, that connection with the community and keep our egos in check, I think that's a big deal.
Well, you guys have been incredibly successful, and Jay, this has been awesome. I appreciate the conversation. Pizza was good. Got some more slices to eat. We'll put different links and ways that people can support not only causes that are near and dear to your heart, but that are also, of interest for CRG.
Love that.
Local businesses, if you want to get involved, that are, that are in the kind of beginning phase of starting something, there's always an opportunity, as Jay said as well, to partner. So there's going to be some different links for those people as well. But
great.
Thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We'll talk here
Thanks
soon for the next event. Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, you're working the pizza station this Friday.
All right,
so
I got it. Yeah,
I hope you got
I love it,
I hope
man.
you have your uniform ready.
Hey, I made some good pies.
You
so
did.
I think
I'm
I can
impressed.
handle it.
That's it. You're hired.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. See you later.